now I want to introduce you to a guy who I think has made a big difference, and I'm proud to know. It's Cliff Walker-Green, and he is running in Maryland. I want to tell you about what he's running for, and I want to tell you what he's accomplished before. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thanks, Cenk. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, I know you as Walker. Are you running as Cliff Green, though?
Yeah, I'm running as Cliff. That's my legal first name.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
All right. We got to keep it legal if we're running.
Yeah, gotta keep it legal.
So now, Cliff, you worked for Wolfpack in New Jersey and had great success. So I want to talk about that before I want to talk about why you're running for this particular seat in Maryland. And he's running for the Democratic Central Committee in Legislative District 21. I know it's very specific, but there's a very good reason for that. So first, tell us about how you found Wolfpack and what your role there was.
Yeah, so I was always a TYT fan, and throughout high school, I've always watched the Young Turks. And I remember you made a call to arms repeatedly, saying that if we want to fix a lot of these problems that our country is facing, you have to get to the core of it, and that's money in politics. So that led me to signing up to Wolfpack. And in Wolfpack, I was the New Jersey team state director from 2013 to 15, where I led a grassroots team of volunteers from all walks of life, from shopping cart attendants to English teachers to lawyers, to passing our resolution calling for a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United, which is the crux of a lot of our campaign finance problems.
So you were instrumental in that, and you know, whenever I think of different people who worked at Wolfpack, you're one of the top ones that always spring to mind as such a great volunteer, activist, and leader. So one more thing about Wolfpack. Was it what you expected? Was it different than you expected? What did you get out of it?
I'll say I was never really involved in politics in any organizing or activism capacity until I joined Wolfpack. So it was a new ballgame for me, and being able to actually learn how to organize everyday people to meet, to call, to lobby their local legislatures, and to pressure our elected officials to get something we want done was very eye-opening to me. And it showed me that when ordinary people stand together, there's nothing we can't accomplish.
All right, that's awesome. So why run for this particular seat?
So I'm running for this office, for this seat, because I believe healthcare is a human right. I believe college education is a right. And I believe that all workers should be paid a living wage. And I want to take the Democratic Party in a progressive direction to fight for these policies, because right now a lot of our Democratic leadership are not supporting these policies. And even though this is a small position in a way, they do wield significant power. So you may not know this, but nearly a third of the Maryland legislators in Annapolis they got their start through an undemocratic appointment. The governor is constitutionally whenever a legislator dies or resigns or is removed from office, the governor is constitutionally required to appoint whoever the Central Committee picks. And right now, 22% of the House and 28% of the Senate got their start not through an election, but through an appointment. And I want to change that process. So I want to be able to bring a voice to the progressive issues that I support and make sure that we get Democrats in office who support the same thing.
So you're not a national candidate, so just Democrats can't endorse you in that sense. But obviously, since you fought to get money out of politics in Wolfpack, you're uncorrupted, no question about that.
Nope. Yep.
Yes. So, but you have gotten some endorsements. Who's endorsed you so far?
Yeah, so our campaign has been proudly endorsed by Progressive Maryland, by Metro DC Democratic Socialists of America, and by University of Maryland's Young Democratic Socialists of America.
All right, awesome. I think that a lot of the established Democrats would be like, "Oh my God, Democratic Socialist!"
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
But you're proud to get their endorsement.
Absolutely, because these are a group of community organizers and activists who believe that a better world is possible. They believe that a nation will not survive morally or economically when so few have so much and so many have so little. So I proudly wield their endorsement because change needs to happen. People are struggling. Income inequality is a huge problem, as well as racial injustice and migrant justice. And these are issues that these groups are very active in fighting for. And I'm proud to work alongside them in fighting for these issues.
So, Cliff, there's a fun part of your past. You did improv comedy for
Yeah.
Second City, Improv Theater, UCB. That's significant organizations. So I guess why did you decide to go from that to this? Because that is a pretty significant change.
Well, I was always a huge fan of comedy, specifically political satire. Well, like nowadays, a lot of people get their news not through the establishment press or online press, but through journalists like John Oliver or Stephen Colbert or Jon Stewart, and it's because those type of comedians. They're used to holding people in power accountable. They don't pander to their audience. They try to hold people accountable, and that's where they get a lot of their comedy from. And I decided to do improv because I was a lot of these comedians like Colbert and Carell, they got their start through improv comedy. And if anything, it's more like an extension, right? So like while I can make fun of what's happening in our political sphere on stage, I can also actually fight for real change off stage.
Yeah. All right. I love it. And so how's it been running for office? I don't know if you've got a job as well and how that affects this. Just give us a sense of how that campaign's actually affected your life.
Yeah, so it's exhausting, I'll be honest. I've never ran a political campaign before, but it is exciting at the same time. So we have a team of 20 volunteers, and most of the campaigning is knocking on doors, talking to voters. A lot of voters, when you tell them that you're fighting for healthcare as a right for all people, they're like, F yeah, that's literally was one of the constituents. They're like, yeah, I want healthcare. And I asked them, like, are you a super progressive? They're like, no, I'm middle of the road, but this is common sense stuff. So meeting voters like that really inspires me. And so that's most of our campaign is just knocking on doors, calling voters, writing postcards. As far as a job, I work as a lighting tech at our local theater in the campus at the Clarice Theater. And because I'm a huge theater nerd and I love teching productions.
Man, I love it, man. And I know you're good at organizing because you organized New Jersey for Wolfpack, and we passed in New Jersey. So
yeah, right.
Right.
Go figure.
So at least I know you're going to get volunteers together. So in a race like this, which is, again, it's of course it's a smaller race because it's the Democratic Central Committee, et cetera. How in the world do you know if you're winning or not?
Yeah, they don't do polling for this, but what our team has been able to gather, we are the only campaign making this like putting a lot of effort into trying to win it because well, for one, I don't believe in half measures when it comes to progressive policies. So I certainly don't believe in half measures when it comes to winning elections. And what we've been doing, we are out organizing our competition. We are running against a team that has been endorsed and they're slating with the current Democrats in power into the 21st district. But from what we've seen, there hasn't been much canvassing or organizing effort on their part. I guess mostly because it is literally the last item on the ballot. But again, like I mentioned before, it is important. So I guess that's the status update on that.
So the Democratic Party establishment is not backing a guy who worked for Wolfpack and got endorsed by the Democratic Socialists. Really?
Yeah, surprise. Who knew? Go figure.
Wow, I couldn't have seen that coming. So now, again, you've got me curious, all these candidates too. I mean, I know what a great and hard worker you are and the accomplishments you've had. So I'm rooting for you anyway. But now you got me curious, so if an upstart campaign like that can knock out someone that the establishment just puts on a list, right? And because those lists are important. And
they are, yeah.
Yeah.
They get you on sample ballots because, like, if you know the right senator and they have a big war chest, that can mean light and day. And that's why I think a lot of people are used to a system where they're not running for central committee, but they are appointed or anointed, if you will, by the local sitting senator or delegate. And I want to change that. I think this is a democracy, right? So anyone should be able to run for office, and you should win the battle of ideas, not the battle of how much money you have. But as far as money, if that is a concern, we've raised over $3,000, and I believe we're the only central committee campaign right now in this race that has to start a PAC to raise that money because you're not allowed to spend over $1,000 of your own money. So if money's a concern, that's no issue with this race. And it's all small dollar contribution, no PACs, not that corporations are bankrolling this. But
do you have any idea how heartbroken I'd be, Cliff, if you wound up taking money from Lockheed Martin?
I would cry for you. Like man, I hate money in politics so much. It is destroying our country. Whether you're right or left, it's like you can't even talk about the real ideas affecting American people. Like I literally was canvassing the other day, and I met this staunch Republican. And because his wife was a conservative Democrat, that's why she was on my list. And we couldn't agree on any issue. But the one issue we can agree with that is money in politics is a problem. They hate the corruption. They hate when lobbyists and developers put so much money in a super PAC and fund candidates. And that's where we found common ground. And that's one of the things I want to fight for, at least internally in the Democratic Party, because you can't turn around and say, oh, the Republicans get money when you also get money. So I want to fix that.
All right, Cliff Green, everybody, go check out his website. Let's throw up the links, cliff4pg.com. That's 4 as in the number, so cliff4pg.com. And then obviously you've got the donation and the signups there. And in a race like that, as you can tell, a little bit of money goes a long, long way. So those small dollar donations do matter a ton to candidates like Cliff. Thank you, brother, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And for all your great service at Wolfpack, too. Really, really appreciate it. You were amazing.
My pleasure. Thank you for your leadership.